Have you ever stopped to think about what it would take to travel across deserts, face untold dangers, and cross great distances, all because of a single star in the sky? This is the story of the Magi, the wise men who traveled from distant lands to find a newborn king. Their journey was no small feat. In fact, their quest has captivated hearts and imaginations for centuries. In this video, we're going to take a closer look at the journey of the Magi, the significance of their visit, and the lessons we can learn from their unwavering pursuit of truth. At Story of Grace, we're about to dive into one of the most remarkable stories of faith and destiny. Who were the Magi? The Magi were far more than mere travelers. They were esteemed scholars, astronomers, and interpreters of ancient prophecies. Hailing most likely from Persia, modern-day Iran, these men belonged to a class of wise advisors, possibly even priestly figures who studied the heavens with precision. In their culture, celestial events were not random but carried divine messages. When they observed an extraordinary star, they didn't see it as just another astral phenomenon. They recognized it as a divine signal, one foretelling the birth of a great king. Their expertise in astrology and prophecy set them apart. Unlike casual stargazers, the Magi were trained in deciphering cosmic signs, possibly drawing from Jewish scriptures, like Numbers 24:17, which speaks of a star rising from Jacob, or other ancient traditions. This was no ordinary journey. It was a sacred quest driven by faith and intellectual conviction. They traveled vast distances, not for wealth or fame, but in pursuit of truth, a newborn king destined to change history. Their pilgrimage symbolizes the intersection of wisdom, devotion, and divine guidance, proving that seeking truth requires both knowledge and courage. The Star of Bethlehem. What made the Star of Bethlehem so extraordinary? Unlike other celestial phenomena, this was no random occurrence. It was a divine beacon, meticulously timed and placed to announce the birth of the Messiah. The Magi, trained in reading the heavens, recognized its significance immediately. This wasn't merely a bright light. It was a fulfillment of ancient prophecies, like Balaam's vision of a star rising from Jacob, Numbers 24:17. Scholars debate its nature. Was it a supernatural manifestation, a comet, or a rare planetary conjunction? Some suggest Jupiter and Saturn's alignment in 7 BC, which ancient astrologers linked to kingship. Others propose a nova or divine light. Regardless, its behavior was miraculous. It moved, lingered over Bethlehem, and appeared only to those seeking truth. For the Magi, the star was both a compass and a confirmation, God guiding Gentiles to his Son. Its light pierced spiritual darkness, symbolizing that Jesus came for all nations. Even today, it reminds us that when God sends a sign, those who seek him wholeheartedly will find him. The long journey to Bethlehem. The Magi's trek to Bethlehem was an epic pilgrimage spanning hundreds of miles, likely taking months through harsh wilderness. Ancient travel meant braving scorching deserts, bandit-ridden roads, and unpredictable weather with only camels and basic supplies. Unlike modern travelers with maps and GPS, their sole navigational aid was a mysterious star whose movements defied natural patterns. What sustained them through such hardships? More than mere curiosity, this was a sacred mission. As learned men, they understood messianic prophecies and recognized this celestial sign as God's invitation. Their costly gifts, gold, frankincense, myrrh, reveal they came prepared to worship a king. Every mile deepened their resolve. When the star vanished in Jerusalem, they didn't abandon hope, but consulted Scripture, Micah 5:2, to redirect their search. This journey mirrors every spiritual quest, filled with obstacles but sustained by faith. The Magi's perseverance challenges us. What lengths would we go to encounter Christ? Their story proves that when we follow God's signs with unwavering faith, the destination outweighs every difficulty. King Herod's role. When the Magi arrived in Jerusalem, they went straight to the palace expecting to find the newborn king. Instead, they found a troubled king, Herod, who was deeply disturbed by the news of a new king being born. Herod's reaction to the Magi's arrival was one of fear and manipulation. Why would a king who ruled a vast territory feel threatened by the birth of a child? The answer lies in Herod's paranoia and his desire to hold on to power at all costs. In this section, we'll explore how Herod's role in the story added another layer of drama and tension to the Magi's journey. Herod, upon hearing about the birth of the new king, was not overjoyed. Instead, he feared that his reign would be threatened. This fear led him to deceive the Magi, asking them to report back to him with the details of the child's location. But the Magi were wise enough to recognize Herod's deceit. They had been warned in a dream not to return to him, and they took a different route home. The contrast between Herod's deceit and the Magi's honesty highlights the stark differences between those who seek power for selfish reasons and those who seek truth. Herod's role in the story serves as a reminder of the dangers of jealousy and fear, while the Magi's role serves as an example of wisdom and integrity. The gifts of the Magi. What did the Magi bring with them on their long journey? They brought gifts: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. But these weren't just any gifts. Each gift had a deeper meaning, symbolizing different aspects of who Jesus was. But why these gifts? Why not something else? What was it about gold, frankincense, and myrrh that made them so significant? In this section, we'll unpack the meaning behind these three gifts and why they were so important to the story of Jesus' birth. Gold was a symbol of kingship. It was a gift fit for a king, acknowledging the royal nature of Jesus. Frankincense, a precious incense, symbolized divinity. It was often used in religious ceremonies, representing the holiness of the one it was offered to. Myrrh, on the other hand, was a symbol of suffering and death. It was used in embalming, foreshadowing the suffering Jesus would endure later in his life. Together, these gifts spoke to the Magi's understanding of who Jesus was and what he would accomplish. They weren't just bringing material wealth, they were acknowledging the profound significance of this child and the divine mission he was destined to fulfill. The significance of the Magi's visit. The visit of the Magi is often seen as a beautiful and symbolic moment in the Nativity story, but it's much more than that. The fact that the Magi, who were Gentiles, traveled from distant lands to worship Jesus speaks volumes about the universal nature of his mission. The visit of the Magi signifies that Jesus was not just the King of the Jews, but the King of all nations. But what does this mean for us today? How does the visit of the Magi speak to our understanding of Jesus and his message? In this section, we'll explore the global significance of the Magi's visit and what it teaches us about Jesus' role in the world. The visit of the Magi is a reminder that Jesus came for everyone, not just for the Jewish people. The Magi were not Jewish, and yet they recognized the significance of Jesus' birth. This shows us that the message of Jesus transcends cultural and geographical boundaries. It's a message for all people, no matter where they come from. The visit also highlights the importance of seeking truth and wisdom. The Magi didn't just follow the star because they were curious. They followed it because they believed it would lead them to something greater. Their journey serves as a model for all of us in our pursuit of truth and meaning. Lessons from the Magi. What can we learn from the story of the Magi? Their journey offers several important lessons that we can apply to our own lives. First, it teaches us about faith. The Magi trusted that the star would lead them to something of great importance, even when the journey seemed uncertain. They didn't know exactly where they were going, but they followed the star in faith. Second, the gifts they brought teach us about the importance of giving our best. The Magi didn't bring cheap or meaningless gifts. They brought their finest offerings, showing their reverence for the newborn king. Finally, the Magi's journey teaches us about persistence. Despite all the challenges they faced, they never gave up on their mission to find Jesus.